Hashem appears to Moshe Rabbeinu, and Hashem tells Moshe to go and to speak to Bnei Yisrael, and to tell the Bnei Yisrael that I'm going to take you to be my nation. You're going to be my nation, I'm going to be your God. And you will know, I'm going to be the one, and you're going to know that I'm the one who took you out of the difficulty in Mitzrayim. And I will bring you at the end, the ultimate goal of Geula, to bring us back to Eretz Yisrael, the land that I promised to Abraham, Yitzchak, and to Yaakov. And the Torah tells us that Moshe told this over to Bnei Yisrael, V'lo shamu al Moshe, but they didn't listen to Moshe. Why? Kotzer Ruach u'me'avodah kasha, out of Kotzer Ruach, shortness of wind, of breadth, and avodah kasha, and the difficulty of the work. The question is, what exactly is Kotzer Ruach u'me'avodah kasha? So I think many of us are probably familiar with the general approach of the Mefarshim, that Bnei Yisrael were worked so hard. And even though, as the Rashbam said, V'lo shamu Moshe, they didn't listen to him now, they believed him, they saw the mofsim, they saw the signs that God had sent in last week's Parsha, and they thought that things were going to get better. But now things got worse. Things got harder, so they were working harder. It was hard to believe that this was going to happen. It was hard to be able to accept. Some say lo samu leiv ledvarav. They couldn't pay attention because the avodah kasha, the work, was so difficult. And there's a similar approach in many of the mefarshim. But the Ralbag takes a very different approach, and I think that approach leaves us with a very important lesson. The Ralbag says v'lo shamu al Moshe. They didn't listen to Moshe mikotzer ruach, out of the shortness of the breath of avodah kasha, and because the difficulty is not referring to Bnei Yisrael. All these other explanations refer to Bnei Yisrael experiencing the avodah kasha. Rather, says the Ralbag, suggests the Ralbag, is lo shamu Moshe. They couldn't listen to Moshe because Moshe was experiencing kotzer ruach. For Moshe, it was so difficult. Eneme avodah kasha. Says the Ralbag, Diber Moshe elo dvarim b'nei Yisrael. He said all these things without Aaron. V'lo haminu Yisrael dever Moshe. And they didn't believe. They didn't accept what Moshe said. Kotzer ruach Moshe, because of the shortness of the breadth of what Moshe was experiencing, that he had to try and articulate it in the right way, and it was so difficult. Moshe, as it was not articulate. That was the difficulty that Moshe said. Ani aras vasayim, these was hard for him. But more than that, he couldn't say ba'ufen she'yikanzu b'ozneihem ki mipnei rov hesbodus Moshe ba'asagos ogis k'Moshe mekedem mipnei avodah kasha shenitzchat shelem achar sh'Moshe el paro b'malachus Hashem yispala sheviyosav gamkein ashelo yaminu l'dvarav. Says he saw what happened after the first time that he spoke, and therefore Moshe Rabbeinu himself was so troubled. It was so hard for him to be able to articulate what he needed to be able to say it in a way that could be miskabel, because Moshe was also experiencing the pain of Bnei Yisrael. It's a quality that Moshe Rabbeinu had. We saw it in last week's Parsha also, that Moshe says, Vayar b'siv osam, he saw their pain. He related to other people. And it was so penetrated that Moshe wasn't working, couldn't speak articulately in a way that could be understood and accepted by Bnei Yisrael. It's a critical idea. When we're trying to be able to convince somebody of something, we're trying to give over something, how we give that over is going to be essential. Not just the words that we say, but our ability to fully be in it. And when we're troubled by something, then it is going to be more difficult. We need to be honest. We can't not be troubled if it's something which is bothering us. But it's not just the words that we say. But if we want to be able to try and convince somebody, we have to be fully in it. And when it's troublesome to us, when it's difficult, because we see what our words caused from last time, Moshe Rabbeinu is teaching us, the Torah reveals to us that Lo Shamu Moshe, you're not going to be able to convince them Kotzer Ruach, because it was hard for Moshe Rabbeinu. And it required steps forward, it required the makos, it requires going through a process in order for Moshe to be able to relate it to Klal Yisrael in a way that Klal Yisrael were able, and we're going to be able to accept it. You have one pasuk, which again comes from two different directions in terms of the pshat, which gives us fundamental ideas of how we need to try and convince, we need to try and give something over. The way that we do it, the tone that we're all engaged, is going to be critical as to whether our message is going to be accepted.